Hello everybody, this is Prem Kumar here, author of book Empty Cup, a book of Zen. Continuing with the Zen stories, the next Zen story is the stone cutter. There was once a stone cutter who was dissatisfied with himself and his position in life. One day, he passed a wealthy merchant's house. Through the open gateway, he saw many positions and important visitors. How powerful that merchant must be, thought the stone cutter. He became very envious and wished that he could be like the merchant. To his great surprise, he suddenly became the merchant, enjoying more luxuries and power than he had ever imagined. But envied and detested by those who are less wealthy than himself. Soon high officials passed by, carried in a sedan chair, accompanied by attendants and escorted by soldiers, beating gongs. Everyone, no matter how wealthy, had to bow low before the procession. How powerful that official is, he thought. I wish that I could be a high official. Then he became the high official and was carried everywhere in his embroidered sedan chair, feared and hated by the people all around. It was a hot summer day, so the official felt very uncomfortable in the sticky sedan chair. He looked up at the sun. How powerful the sun is, he thought. I wish that I could be the sun. Then he became the sun, shining fiercely down on everyone, scorching the fields, cursed by the farmers and laborers. But a huge black cloud moved between him and the earth, so that his light could no longer shine on everything below. How powerful that storm cloud is, he thought. I wish I could be a cloud. Then he became the cloud, flooding the fields and villages. Was shouted at by everyone. But soon he found that he was being pushed away by some great force and realized that it was the wind. How powerful it is, he thought. I wish that I could be the wind. Then he became the wind, blowing tiles off the roof of the house, uprooting the trees, was feared and hated by all below him. But after a while, he ran up against something that could not move, no matter how forcefully he blew against a huge, towering rock. How powerful the rock is, he thought. I wish that I could be a rock. Then he became the rock, more powerful than anything else on earth. As he stood there, he heard the sound of hammer pounding a chisel into the hard surface and felt himself being changed. What could be more powerful than me? Being the rock, he thought. He looked down and saw far below him the figure of a stone cutter. message is the Lord will give what you need, not what you greed. When you are not happy with what you have, probably you will also not be happy with what you get in your life. We all have our own place in the cosmic dance. The next Zen story is True Nature. Two monks were washing their bowls in the river when they noticed a scorpion drowning. One monk immediately scooped it up and set it upon the bank. In the process, he was stung. He went back to the washing his bowl and again watched the scorpion drowning in. The monk saved the scorpion and was again stung. The other monk asked him, "Friend, why do you continue to save the scorpion when you know its nature is to bite?" Because the monk replied, "To save it is my nature." Be yourself, do your duty, follow your inner voice. The next Zen story is Ritual Cat. When the spiritual teacher and his disciples began their evening meditation, a cat that lived in the monastery made such a noise. It distracted them very much. So the teacher ordered that the cat to be tied up during the evening practice. Years later, the teacher died and the cat continued to be tied up during the meditation session. And when the cat eventually died, another cat was brought to the monastery and tied up. Centuries later, the followers of the spiritual teacher wrote scholarly treatise about the religious significance of tying up a cat for meditation practice. A lie told over a period of time becomes absolute truth. Above Zen story shows how superstitions are developed. The next Zen story is Sound of Silence. Four monks decided to meditate silently without speaking for 2 weeks. By the nightfall on the first day, the candle began to flicker and then went out. The monk said, "Oh no, the candles are out." The second monk said, "Aren't we supposed to talk?" The third monk said, "Why must you to break silence?" The fourth monk laughed and said, "Ha ha ha, I am the only one who didn't speak." The message is, do not get obsessed with meditation. You cannot practice meditation. It has to happen on its own. The next Zen story is Power of Silence. Once Zen master Banki was about to leave a temple in the capital where he taught from time to time. A gentleman came requesting the master to postpone his departure. A certain Baron had a question and wanted to see the Zen master in person on the morrow to resolve it. Banki assented and put off leaving. The next day, however, the gentleman came again, this time with a message that Baron had some urgent business to take care and that he could not come and see the master. The Baron had asked the gentleman to relay his question to Banki. Then the report the Zen master back to him. When he heard the gentleman out, Banki said, "This matter of Zen is difficult to convey even by direct question and direct answer. It is all more difficult to convey by messenger." The Zen master said nothing more. Speechless, gentleman withdrew and departed. Message of Zen is conveyed only in silence. The next story is pure bliss. Once three scholars who were on the way to civil service examination stopped to buy refreshment from a woman who sold pastries by the wayside. One man was calm and quiet, while the other was two argued over literature. The woman asked where they are going. The latter two told her they are going to take the civil service examination. She said, "You two scholars won't pass the exam, the other man will." The two men swore at her and left. When the results of the examination turned out, as the woman has predicted, the two scholars who had failed went back to find out how she could know that they would not pass, while the third man would. They asked her if she knows physiognomy. "No," she said. "All I know is when a pastry is thoroughly cooked, it sits there quietly, but before it's finished, it keeps on making noise." Friends, silence is pure bliss. The next Zen story is becoming a lake. An aging Hindu master grew tired of his apprentice complaining, and so one morning he sent him for some salt. When the apprentice returned, the master instructed the unhappy young man to get a handful of salt in a glass of water and then to drink it. "How does it taste?" the master asked. "Bitter," spit the apprentice. The master chuckled and then asked the young man to take some same handful of salt and put it in the lake. The two walked in silence into the nearby lake, and once the apprentice filled his hand of salt in the water, the old man said, "Now drink from the lake." As the water dripped down the young man's chin, the master asked, "How does it taste?" "Much fresher," remarked the apprentice. "Do you taste salt?" asked the master. "No," said the young man. At this, the master sat beside the young man, who was so reminded himself, and took his hand, offering, "The pain of life is pure salt, no more, no less. The amount of pain in life remains the same, exactly the same. But the amount of bitterness we taste depends on the container we put the pain in. So when you are in pain, the only thing you can do is enlarge your sense of things. Stop being a glass, become a lake. Expanding your consciousness will give you less pain." Thank you, friends.